friends! Welcome back to the Messed Up Movies Podcast, the podcast celebrating movies and filmmakers that embrace the insane, the outrageous, the unhinged, the off-kilter, and the all-around kind of messed up fun you can't take your eyes off of. What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Griffey, joined as always by my friend, co-host, and guy who always wears pantyhose,
Alex Dandino. Griff, let me ask you a question. Have we watched movies from as messed up a filmmaker as Nancy Meyers? That's the question.
As Lars von Myers? No. This is one of the more unhinged films I've ever seen.
Nancy Meyers, Rose Kalia. Quite a film. Having said that.
Rose Kalia. I just want that now.
I just want Nancy Meyers to remake Lars von Trier movies. Having said all that, guys, for $1 a month, you can get these kinds of vicious barbs over on our Patreon, Mess Up Movies Patreon, Misfit Parade Patreon. For $1 a month, you get access to a Black Mirror series, which is about to start being season 7 action.
That will already be on the Patreon by the time you guys hear this. So if you are enjoying the new Black Mirror season, it's already there for you. Go find it.
Of course, Tales from the Griff, always up and running. Love that. We have 2 more seasons to go, including the movies, which I'm very excited to get to. Because
Tales from the Crypt just keeps on giving gifts.
It's the gift that keeps on giving. Along with all the other great stuff we have going on over there, and access to all of our the Misfit Parade stuff, which is cool too, right? Great times. We have a lot of fun stuff for $1 a month. Or if you want to give us $5, you get access to even more. There you
go. Go join our community. Please help us grow this thing. That is the best way to support the show. Make sure you go to YouTube, Misfit Parade, subscribe there to see our short films, video versions of the pod, all kinds of fun stuff. We're on all the socials. That's a great way to let your friends know. That's what we'd like to ask more than anything. If you have a movie-loving friend, send them a TikTok, a reel, a short, an episode, a Spotify, whatever the hell you share. Let them know what we're up to. Let's grow this thing at a grassroots level. Make sure you go to MisfitParade.com. Keep track of our movie we're making, Mr. Cream Jeans Hidey Hole. 5-star ratings and reviews are appreciated wherever you find podcasts.
Help us take on these male overlords that are trying to steal our Nike ads. Not cool.
Yeah, have we not had enough of these overlords, dude? Goddamn. Apparently in the 90s, the answer was no. Remember a time when all of our moms just used to spend their quiet evening hours thinking of Mel Gibson before it was just outed he's just a racist who needs his gun rights back really bad? Mel Gibson turning evil, in retrospect, was one of the most obvious things to have on your bingo card that a lot of us got shockingly blindsided.
We really didn't see the heel turn coming. It's strange.
It's as if we had never seen What a Woman Wants or Lethal Weapon or any other Mel Gibson joint. Mad Max, right? Turns out he wasn't just mad about the apocalypse. It was a simpler time, right? So I was watching this yesterday. My mother dropped by to hang out with the boys, and she sat down and was in stitches, loving this movie. And looks over to me and she's like, I'm really glad you're watching this movie. It's a classic.
Oh!
And it took her back to this demographic, right? I had never seen this. I probably had seen it when my mom watched it as a younger man. I don't remember this movie. So this month's curation, right? The month of June, the birth of me. Yeah. We're here to celebrate my birth. I'll be 28 years old again. So Alex has decided to reach out to our fellow misfits. Each of them are giving me a messed up movie gift this month. Indeed. Alex, of course, just really going deep on the assignment.
I always like to throw you for a loop. Here's the thing. Griffey and I watch a lot of movies together. Over the past decade of doing stuff like this, we have watched a lot of movies. I've been dragged to a lot of movies. I've dragged Griffey to a lot of movies. We both sat through Justice League, all right?
That's right.
We've sat through a lot of shit. It didn't seem right that on this particular birthday, this auspicious year where we've started the Messed Up Movies podcast, essentially, rebooting the film Alchemist's Life, look, the messed upness needs to be we got to get a little loose with it here. So I told Griffey, I'm like, you need to watch What Women Want, this 2000 Nancy Meyers joint starring Mel Gibson and Helen Hunt.
I will say that was the most shocking thing, is that this came out in the year 2000 and not 1993. Like, the fact that this was not an early 90s movie was shocking to me to revisit. This came after we burned down Woodstock.
Yeah, this was post-Woodstock. Okay, so, look, for those of you who... I'm assuming most people who listen to our pod have never watched What Women Want.
All right, so yeah, here's the story. A cocky chauvinistic advertising executive magically, more on that, acquires the ability to hear what women are thinking. We got Nancy Meyers directing, Mel Gibson, Helen Hunt, Marisa Tomei, Alan Alda. Yep. All-star
I mean,
cast,
by the
right?
way, the cast is stacked, okay?
I feel like Nancy Meyers always has stacked cast.
Yeah,
this one is incredible, right?
She gets people to do things you weren't expecting, including, by the way, they got Eric Balfour, the '90s kid who is Eric Balfour. I
had a tussle with Eric Balfour once.
I know you did, and we've talked about Eric Balfour on the show before. Eric Balfour is like the perennial guy you cast when you want someone to look like they're dating a miscreant. He's the miscreant always.
I was gonna say, in this movie, they're like, we need someone who captures the essence of okay with banging not 18-year-old girls.
We need someone to capture the
Eric
essence
Balfour's
of date
stash
rapist.
has that essence of crime adjacent.
He's got that faint soupçon of just like, hey, he's gonna go to jail soon.
He's got the mustache and facial structure of a man who's like, let me explain why this one's not illegal. And it's like, whoa, Eric Balfour. But yeah, essentially, this is kind of it's such a classic kind of Hollywood story, right?
Sure.
This feels out of time for when it was made. This is the classic, it's impossible to know what a woman wants. How could any man understand what a woman wants, as if they're not human beings as well?
It's insane.
And in the movie is a journey through, you know what, women want to be heard and people to think they're attractive and, respect them and their intelligence. You're like, yeah, I think that's mostly what everyone wants. Apparently in the year 2000, we were still fucking befuddled just by this. And so Mel Gibson plays, as they start in the opening of the movie, he is a man's man. A man's man means you can't possibly understand anything a woman wants or hear opinions from anyone else, right? If you are a man's man, you are a caveman. That's what this movie says. And Mel Gibson is the embodiment of that.
Right. It's not only that, like, so they give the opening premise of like what constitutes Nick Marshall, Mel Gibson's character, is that so Lauren Holly is explaining why he's like the most chauvinistic sex maniac that ever existed. He was born in Las Vegas, which, by the way, I know plenty of people who are born in Las Vegas did not turn out this way.
Not only that,
born in Las Vegas,
he
and his
was
mother
a child
showgirl
who was in the movie Showgirls, right? Yeah.
He was
like, if you just put a child in the midst of that. He was
evidently raised by the entire cast of Showgirls. That's the person you become. Sure. In the most likely of scenarios. And now they're like his male role models. I'm like, was what the sleazy guy who's like spanking asses and handing out checks?
Yeah, the mom's like reading
right.
him a storybook with her, bra and outfit on. And she's like, he needs male role models. Yeah. Let's go to Sopranos extra number 13. Who's like, hey, yo, ass
yeah, let's go to greasy guy in the back.
And she's just like, that'll learn him. He'll be a real man. Come to find out, he grows up to be professional pussy slayer Nick Marshall. Mel Gibson, this is what he is. He's a perennial guy who wakes up late. He shows up to work late. He calls his housekeeper babe. He walks around. He bumps a woman and spills coffee on her tits.
Smokes cigarettes constantly. This is like
that part's cool. That not everyone is all bad or all good.
He rips darts through life, like everywhere he goes. Darts
and fucking smokes ass. That's what this guy does.
That's his job, evidently.
And apparently his big claim to fame is he's the guy who puts tits in advertising, as if that's some fucking grandiose fucking brain bubble we gotta bust.
He's apparently the only guy who's cracked the code. Alan Alda. So the movie starts really the exciting thing is Alan Alda. He thinks he's gonna get promoted, and Alan Alda brings him. He's like, "Hey, the '80s are over, and women think now. So I don't know what we're gonna do. We're gonna hire.
Literally, if you took that joke from Anchorman, where Danny Trejo's like, Ron, that's
exactly what it is.
Women can do things now.
That's the speech.
It's that one joke from Anchorman, but played out as an entire film.
Alan Alda's opening literally is just like, oh yeah, I don't know. Women are, women are cool and they're interesting and they buy things. It's like, okay, let's, this is 2000. It's not 1939
I'm telling
or whatever.
You I could not believe this was the year 2000.
Oh, dude, it's wild.
It's an archaic beast of a film. But yes,
he thinks he's going to get a promotion.
He wants to get promoted, but the market has shifted where women now control the money in the house. This leaves cavemen like Nick Marshall, who every product he sees is just a chance for but bigger bosoms in print and on media.
Yeah.
And so they call in Helen Hunt, this man-eating ball-buster bitch on wheels from another agency, to take over. Mel Gibson now has a nemesis and an adversary.
Right.
And one of the weirdest things the movie decides is that she gives everyone a box of pink bullshit, right?
It's a box of feminine products,
like various feminine products,
items
with no
that
rhyme
are
or
geared
reason.
towards the female market. Yeah,
right. And she says, "Take this box of props home," as if it's like when I was in 5th grade, I was in this group, Odyssey of the Mind. Where we would go do shit like that, right? Just get props and do prompts and like create shit.
Absolutely. Yep.
So he goes home and he's like, all right, well, the clearest thing to do is get shit-faced, complain about how much estrogen's on TV, and then I'm going to smoke
all
darts,
the products,
hammer wine, put eyeliner on, wax his leg, put the pantyhose and bra on, to where his daughter comes in with Eric Balfour. His daughter, who he thought was 13, only to find out she's 15. He's a real piece of shit. Finds her right. It's his whole to-do. And he's like, oh, God, women ruin everything in my life. He slips on this jar of decorative beads. Okay, let me pause here.
Okay, are we going to talk about the mechanics by which
mechanics of this movie need to be discussed. If you had given me the premise of this movie, Mel Gibson is a piece of shit. I'm like, yep, following, great casting. He somehow garners the power to talk or hear what women say in their inner thoughts, right?
Right.
Woman mind reading. I'm like, okay, cool. Griffey, how do you think
he
would come across said power?
Before you watched this movie, if I was to tell you he gains the power to hear women think, tell me how, give me, based on the Nancy Myersness of it all, tell me how you would imagine this to happen.
So, to me, based on the premise of this movie, Mel Gibson would have fired or banged and dumped a woman, right? Something like that. She would put a curse on him. You don't know how hard it is for a woman.
You're doing Beauty and the Beast. Okay.
Yeah, and he just goes, cool. Yeah, thanks, Toots. Here's a towel. Wipe yourself off and call an Uber on you.
Right.
And then she curses him. And all of a sudden he's like, I can hear what women think.
So you're going Beauty and the Beast route.
Yes, I'm going full, whatever. Drag me to hell. I'm going full curse, right? Zoltar machine. That's where my head is, right?
Absolutely.
Something whimsical and magical.
No.
The idea that I watch Mel Gibson in half a drag slide across his apartment as if it's the Three Stooges, fall into his bathtub with a hairdryer and not commit suicide.
All it is getting electrocuted.
But that electrocution, right? A classic suicide. This is how Chucky creates the Bride of Chucky, is dropping a hairdryer in a bathtub. The fact that doesn't kill him, but that somehow some greater being in the universe, some deity is out there and says, there's a good man buried deep within the mountain of shit that is Nick Marshall. I will let him hear the inner monologue of women? What?
Basically what, the writers of this movie are essentially saying is, Mother Gaia sees this man on the brink of death, having been electrocuted through the only faults of his own, and be like, no, this is a good person that we need to teach a lesson. So, instead of killing him and letting him die, which is exactly, by the way, what happens every time you get electrocuted in the bathtub.
There is a version of this movie before it hits the ending where you're like, this is actually Nick Marshall wakes up in hell. He's just forced to live in a woman's world, and that's his 6th ring of hell or whatnot.
Sure.
Because it makes no sense. Because not only that, we see a second time he wants to remove the powers. Right. So he re-waxes the other leg.
He does it again.
He walks out into a rainstorm in his high-rise apartment in Chicago with the hairdryer, gets fucking hit by lightning.
Hit by a bolt of lightning. It's not even
doesn't kill him.
House electricity. It
does nothing,
the
right?
Power of lightning.
So yeah, there's 3 touchdowns. He should have committed suicide in the bathtub. He gets shocked by walking out into a storm with the hairdryer. The 3rd time we introduce just a classic pre-2000s mystical old Asian lady who gives him an extra knowing look for no reason. And then sparks hit neon signage. And because he's near the sparks but not touched by them, this erases his ability.
Yeah. By the way,
the Asian lady somehow is taken form to say, Nick Marshall has learned enough. And they revoke his powers.
Is a 2000,
as if the power is a mogwai.
Yeah. Okay. It's so funny you said that because I literally, in the middle of the movie, I was like, because I had forgotten about the little Asian lady. I'm like, oh my God, they're using Gremlins. This is Gremlins. We're doing a Gremlins thing. That's it. Like, that's how he loses the power is like, oh, sparks, Gremlin stuff. You're like, weird. Oh, I'm getting wet. No.
Like he's in a Hooba Stank video. Yeah. And he's like, ah.
Basically, what we're saying is,
and then he's left crawling in the dark for the rest of the movie.
Nick Marshall was stepped out in a rainstorm, got wet afternoon, and became a man again. That's it.
Yeah, it is the most shocking thing in the movie. Full of shocking things.
Full of
the
shocking
electrocution. Because again, what being in the universe has deemed
Mother Gaia.
this man?
Mother Gaia says
this is one of those classic. Why is God giving with both hands? Right? He's already rich. He's already handsome. He's already slaying women left and right.
Mel Gibson, banging out.
Why?
No
why
problems.
does this guy? There's not like some fucking poor guy who has worked hard as an elementary school janitor his whole life. He's made the lives of thousands of kids better, but he can't find love.
Well, okay,
and he
so
can't get electrocuted in like an elementary school, and then all of a sudden he's like,
Right.
"My God, I look like Chris Hemsworth."
Well, when you watch it when you're youthful, when you watch it when you're probably younger, or like the first, like in 2000 when you're watching, you're like, okay, cool, whatever. This guy, here's what women think, and everyone hates him. Like, okay, cool. Watching it now, at age 38, with all the life we've had, with all the things that have happened in this world since in the 25 years since this movie's come out. I was watching it last night with Andrea, and I was just like, man, the craziest thing about this movie, beyond the insane amount of electrocution that happens and doesn't kill anybody, is that he essentially gets the power to hear women think. And rather than going, wow, women go through a lot, or like really understanding what's going on, and so he goes, I'm going to weaponize this against every woman I know.
So not only that, let's pause here
and turn into an even worse person.
The weirdest thing watching it now is that this was a time when Mel Gibson may have been the biggest, most popular movie star on the planet. So we cast him as this horrible man. And as an audience, we want our favorite actor, Mel Gibson, to come out better, right? As you watch it now, knowing who Mel Gibson has become, this leathery, ballsack, horrifying-looking monster, you're like, oh, yeah, he was just a bad guy. We've lost that layer of lovable Mel Gibson to make this movie make sense. Or it's like, why do bad guys always win? He goes to a therapist because he needs help. Because hearing what women think, because he's not much of a listener, Nick Marshall, is so painful to him. He goes to Bette Midler. And Bette Midler betrays all women like she does on The View constantly. And just says, or that's not even Bette Midler, is it? Anyways, neither here nor there. It's Joy Behar, right? The two of them are kind of two sides of a coin. But Bette Midler says to him, I don't think you're understanding the gift you have here, pal. He who understands what women wants can rule the world. And Mel Gibson immediately is like, well, time to go stick my dick in things. And that's the movie.
Yeah, that's it. Bette Midler explains, like, hey, you have an incredible power, and you have this amazing opportunity here. And he's like, listen, I get it, Toots, but here's the thing. I could ruin this woman's life who took a job I wanted and also bang the coffee girl. So
I do think Bette Midler deserves more of the blame.
Absolutely. She gives him license.
Well, it's the same thing as, like, Victor von Frankenstein is responsible for the deaths his monster creates. Bette Midler literally sent this monster out dick first into an unprepared world to fucking wreak havoc.
Okay, Mel Gibson at this time was, so 99 he did, so 98 was Lethal Weapon 4, 99 Payback, 2000 was Chicken Run, The Patriot, which was fucking huge, and this movie, What Women Want. And then he did We Were Soldiers, and then kind of like, and then so he went into like directing mode essentially, because like this was after
Apocalypto. Passion of the Christ was like one of the biggest movies of all time.
Yeah, 2004 was Passion of the Christ, so he was right on the precipice of like doing his directing job. And then in 2006 was when he said all those things and got recorded.
And then that's when we heard what Mel Gibson wants, and it was not.
And then we
great.
actually found out who Mel Gibson really was, and that was
That's when I jumped in a tub with a hairdryer. I was like, I can't stand hearing it anymore. No.
But yeah, so.
By the way, I just have to say how fucking insane this is. We are in a world right now where a political official was fired. We're not a political show, but this it is one of the weirdest things to watch the movie in the context of now. A woman who held a government agency job was fired because she's like, yeah, Mel Gibson can't have gun rights back. They fired her just so Mel Gibson now can have a gun. And it's like, I do not think you can understate how much my mom remembers this fondly because of her love of Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
And watching it now with our Mel Gibson, how absolutely fucking
it's unhinged
odd this movie has aged.
It's so weird because again, not only that, like, so the women in his office. So once he goes back to work after he finds out he has this weird gift, the women in his office. So it's Judy. So Judy Greer plays this, which again we'll get to Judy Greer, but Judy Greer's in the cast. Sarah Paulson is his assistant. And this is like Sarah
this
Paulson,
Ivy League woman that has to smile and get him coffees, yeah.
Lisa Edelstein, who is from House. Anna Gasteyer. Delta Burke and Valerie Perrine. Delta Burke and Valerie Perrine, by the way, have like
his
my
two
favorite
assistants who have no thoughts, which I was like, that
might be
okay. That might be the rudest thing in the movie.
That might be the worst part of the entire movie. He's walking through, hearing everyone be like, "Oh, what a dick! Oh, you piece of shit! I'm smart." And he gets to Delta Burke and Valerie Perrine, and they're like, "What can I do for you?" Nothing going on. And you're like, "Oh my god!"
There it is, all Hairspray and Yes Man. Those two.
And I remember thinking to myself, like, when I was younger, watching that, and I'm like, why don't they have any thoughts passing through their head? And I like when you're in 2000, I was all of 16 or like 14 or something like that. Like when I'm I'm not thinking about it at all. We were watching it last night and I was like, oh my God, this is the worst part. Cause it's either one of two things. It's one, they have no thoughts and the assumption is that they're just dumb, and I thought about this like in the like devil's advocate way. Is it that these two women actually just say everything they think, so they don't?
I think you're doing more work than Nancy.
I'm absolutely doing it. Like it's for sure
this is an
absolute
hateful
it's for sure the
fucking
former
decision.
100% the former.
This is a movie that at a baseline, which is so weird. It's a Nancy Meyers movie. Like this movie, while seemingly saying that women are worth getting to know, and if we became more feminine, that'd be great. This movie seems to have a baseline hatred for everything woman. Like, there's a scene where Nick Marshall's just chit-chatting with the women of the office, and he's talking about their problems. And they're like, and he's like, I got to go back to work. He's having a salad, which lets us know he's more womanly now, I guess. And he goes back to work, and they're like, no, Nick, no. And he goes, oh, sorry, got to work. This has been fun. They're like, oh, and they're like, do you want a sandwich? Do you want drinks? I was like,
yeah, I was like,
did they all just ask him to make a sandwich?
He's been nice for like, 5 days? Relax, all right? Come on.
And again, don't have the women of the office be like, oh, he talked to me. I'll make him sandwiches.
Yeah, come on.
Don't have his assistants be like, oh, God, we have no thoughts. Don't have Marisa Tomei, because he's a piece of shit to her, go, I get it, you're gay. And he just goes, yes, I am. And I was like, what is... This movie hates...
He's not learning anything. You've learned nothing from this experience at all.
Well, there's a scene where he's just like eating ice cream in bed. And now we see that he likes the things on TV that are estrogen induced. And he cries watching a Richard Simmons testimonial. And he's just like, oh, and I was like, that is not the movie telling us that womanhood is good. This is an attack on womanhood. Why is Nancy Meyers so hateful of women in this movie?
I remember why. Okay, I don't know. You were a late night kid too. Like, I remember seeing that infomercial a lot when I was young.
Yeah.
That one particularly, like that story that lady told.
Richard Simmons gained this like weird kind of ironic rebirth in this era. Where we were all like back on Richard Simmons, like, oh, remember that goofball? So yes, I do remember. But again,
I remember that particularly being like, and again, it's such a full frontal attack on like whatever women do. You're like, hey, this guy is supposed to be learning how to be less of a piece of shit, and you're just giving him every opportunity to be like, you know what? Women don't know anything.
We're just showing that if he has feminine things, that we make fun of it. Him embracing, hey, maybe a lady talking about how she was so obese she couldn't play with her kids and she lost her weight. That is a nice story, and we should cry at that. That shouldn't be played for a goddamn laugh, right? Like Mel Gibson pretending he's gay is just one of those, what is this scene trying to achieve? What are we doing here? And again, I have to think back to, I was watching this with my mom. My mom is in stitches. So there's a scene where Nick Marshall is he's doing like this really like junkyard dog with the bone kind of foreplay on Marisa Tomei. And she's like, He goes in the bathroom and he crosses his legs. And my mom's like, right? She's just loving life. He goes back out and he just fucking blows her hair off with his sex skills, right?
Right, yeah.
And she goes, Nick Marshall's a sex god. She goes, I've never had anyone so deep inside of me. And he goes, well, thanks. And she goes, I meant in my head. My mom was fucking losing it on the couch laughing. The scene where he's talking to Helen Hunt and she goes, oh God, I looked at his penis. And Mel Gibson's doing that big fucking beautiful $1 million smile. Yeah. And then he does the thing where like he humps at her. My mom is dying laughing. And I was like, are we not, like my mom doesn't see this in the context of this horrifying, like it's literally like dumping spring breakers into Camp Crystal Lake on purpose.
Yes.
And my mom's just like, this is a gas. And I was like, I love that for her. Right? Like I loved this movie, because this movie was a huge fucking movie. Right?
That
and like,
scene.
It's just so weird watching it looking back now. Like it's a movie that I think is aged weird. Like you would not expect that this movie. This feels like a very timeless kind of premise, but it's
aged like milk. It's aged like milk. Like bad milk. Like Andrea came downstairs, so we put Henry to bed and she came downstairs and I was like halfway through it. She's like, how's the movie? I'm like milk. Like imagine 10-week-old milk. That's sort of what we're looking at here. And it's just that scene with Marisa Tomei when they finish in this post-coital bliss and she just like starts like, oh my God. And she starts crying. I'm like, whoa, it couldn't have been that good. Relax. All right. Like, come on. Like, let's not do this. It's so weird. It's so weird. It should not be this way. It's
everything in this movie is like right?
Which, by the way, we have not even talked about the Helen Hunt thing, which is the worst of all, because he literally is like, all right, I can hear everything she's thinking, so I'm going to weaponize her job against her, and not only will I note things before she can.
It's not that he's torpedoing her job. That makes sense. The fact that this motherfucker is reading her thoughts and using this to get her to be like, wow, this guy's got some merit. Like, am I falling for him? And he goes,
exactly.
Attack mode, right?
Yeah.
He weaponized.
Not even like, oh, cool.
We don't even hint that he would like her at all until he hears her in her brain say she likes him and look at his penis. And then he's like, oh, dude, I can torpedo her career and her nethers in one fell swoop. And it's so insane. The concept that this guy, I mean, this is such a kind of rapey premise that this movie dabbles with often.
Absolutely. It's so like weird.
When he does that to Marisa Tomei in the coffee shop and she's like at her breaking point. Yeah. She's like, I don't want to get hurt again. He's like, I know people are afraid of getting hurt. And she goes, oh my God,
you're doing it.
And I was like, dude.
Straight up
what?
That is fucking grooming beyond comprehension.
That's predatory, dude.
That's predatory behavior.
I mean. This was a movie made by the woman who made all of our mom's favorite movies. Essentially not grappling with what the fuck is in this movie. And it's fucking wild. I actually think the forgiving of the daughter, like the daughter eventually forgiving him, right? So he's a bad dad. He comes in, uses his thoughts against her, right? Wins over her friends, takes her dress shopping. She's pretty much like, you've never been a dad. I don't want to hear the sex talk from you. This is the dress I'm going to wear the last night I'm a virgin. He falls out of his chair. That seems like it would be an important subplot in the movie. Mel Gibson forgets about his daughter's prom night. The night she's going to fucking give it up for the first time to fucking Eric Balfour, who looks like the 15th guy on the Black Pearl and is somehow in prom. And it's fucking insane. And he goes and rescues her after her wife has to call from her honeymoon. Hey, our daughter's been in a fucking payphone crying in the rain.
I know you were in the middle of banging someone, but by the way, my daughter
and he
called
shows
from
up
the
as
payphone.
if he shows up into the bathroom and talks to her, and it's like, wait, he's a good guy now? He forgot about his daughter's prom this whole movie. He's going on dates, staying at the office till 1 a.m. He's not parenting her at all. No. She's a roommate at best. It's fucking crazy.
It's nuts. It is, again, the shock of the premise in 2025. Because, by the way, I don't know, like, so they remade this movie.
No. When did they remake it?
So they remade it. It's called What Men Want, and it was Taraji P. Henson and Aldous Hodge doing it.
This feels like well, I don't know if it'd be a grosser movie. This movie's grosser than I gave it credit for.
It was remade in 2019 with Taraji P. Henson.
Doesn't it just feel like giant asses? Giant asses.
Like I was like
giant asses.
Okay, I remember the post. I remember seeing like, oh, they're gonna remake What Women Want, but it's What Men Want. I'm like, that sounds like the most boring concept ever. Like What Men Want. It's easy. It's like the easiest thing ever. It's not curious at all what men want. Women are much more interesting than men. I'm sorry, like that's just the way it is.
To be fair, this movie also could have been called What Men Want. There is very little outside of a very obscure Nike ad. The road doesn't care if you're fit. The road doesn't care if you have makeup on. The road just wants you to pad a business.
It's basically, the movie could be called What Women Want, but really it's what men hear they think they want.
What do women want, and how can it best service men? That's what this
is. Okay, so it's this Helen Hunt thing where he weaponizes her, like, really great advertising skills against her to get her job. So the last two, because this movie ends like 4 times, sort of the same way that Lord of the Rings does. so it's
Return of the King, another great title for this movie.
So it's this subplot from Judy Greer's character the whole movie where she's basically suicidal the entire time. Yeah. And again, he's the only one who marks it or acknowledges it. We find out he was a piece of shit.
He hears like 10 suicide jokes before he acknowledges it.
Before he acknowledges her, finally he like breaks into her apartment. Although like a cat walks in, he's like, "Well, I guess if the door's open, I'll just walk right in."
He reads her goddamn suicide letter.
Yes, reads her suicide note. He's like, "I was worried you were going to do something bad." I'm like, "You didn't give a shit."
Let me pause this for a second. One, he should have acknowledged this way earlier in the movie, right?
Way earlier.
I think this lady wants to kill herself. Doesn't acknowledge it until everything's collapsing and we need him to have a saves the cat moment, right?
Yeah.
He goes into her apartment. The weirdest thing in this whole scene is he's the one who originally turned her down for a copywriting spot. And a very madman-esque, like, she doesn't look like she'll
She doesn't look the part. Don't waste my time. I'm going to smoke cigarettes.
Right? That's fine. The rest of that scene plays like Judy Greer's like, I got to fuck my way to this job. He stands over her and close to her, and she's like, "Why are you in my room?"
Really
Mr.
close, because he's like,
and he's like, "I'm here to do something for you," and she's like, "Okay." And it seems like Judy Greer is moments from taking pills and killing herself, and then goes, or the alternative is I have to fucking bang this guy to have a copywriting job. And I was like, it's just another small cruelty buried in this supposed total turnaround comeuppance moment for Mel Gibson.
Yeah, so he's
that
lost
scene is staged so fucking horrifying.
Yeah, he's lost the ability to hear what women think, so he's just like standing as close as possible to her, asking her questions. I'm like, last night watching, I'm like, oh my god, she thinks he's gonna murder her. Oh my god, this is bad. This is gonna get bad.
I mean, it's one of those scenes that like 4 times the movie cuts to Judy Greer, and it's like, if I hear a Foley sound effect of a zipper dropping, it would not have shocked me at all. Yeah. That feels exactly like the scene we're in.
So he learns that lesson. You're like, all right. But we're not done. Because Helen Hunt lost her job. And he's like, no, you got to get her back. She's the greatest. No, I've learned my lesson. Oh, come on. I've learned my lesson. Come on, God. I want my life back. Like, it's this real George Bailey thing. You're like, not George Bailey at all.
See, that's what I mean. This feels like had this come out in the 40s and Capra directed it, you'd be like, yeah, classic. Makes perfect sense for that era. Capra. 60 years before it came out.
Okay, so he like runs to Helen Hunt's door and basically haphazardly confess he's been stealing her ideas the whole time and all this stuff. Mm. And then, okay, this is the ending that I was like, what? And I forgot this was how it ended. But she's like, well, I guess if that happened, I'd tell you you're fired. I'm like, all right, well, that might be the most modern ending of all. It's
you're
just
like,
yeah, you're fired.
Some
like,
fucking
finally
justice,
some
dude.
sense.
Let's go.
That's right. Here we go. He goes, oh, that wasn't what I expected. I'm like, that's right, bitch. Like, you're out. Get out of here. Like,
hey, it's called a consequence. Google it.
It's called consequences. I know you don't experience them often. You're out. But then she goes back. She's like, but what kind of woman would I be if I didn't save them? Like, no, don't do that for him.
It's the movie that's about embracing womanhood and the women power that at the end again says, thank God this man was there to save me. This fully capable, powerful, fully formed woman. Maybe the only one in the whole movie, right? As him and his daughter seem like the only fully formed women characters. And they undercut her again because Mel Gibson had to give her her life back. And again, it's like one of those, she's like, I better sleep with this guy before he calls Alan Alda and says he actually wants the job. It's like, what are we doing? At every turn, we're undercutting what seems like the important lesson of the movie. And again, this movie is really well made. I like the opening bit where we're walking through a day in the life of Nick Marshall. And we're watching it as like, oh, look at this fucking Lothario, dude. This guy's got it down. And then the gimmick of the very next day, him going back through the same day and hearing what women actually think of him. And you're on the ride. You're like, yeah, hell yeah, dude. This is great. I'm digging this ride. The movie then just fucking loses every bit of introspection it could have had. We see Mel Gibson in stores. We see Mel Gibson going to hot yoga. We see him getting mani-pedi so he can get into the brains of women. You know what we almost never see him do in the movie? Ask a woman what she thinks about literally anything. He casually overhears it. He never has to stop.
No.
Even at the end, he doesn't ask Helen Hunt, what do you think of all this? She just says, you're fired. There's no moment where he's, other than maybe his daughter on the shitter, he's kind of listening. But really, he's taking a victory lap because she's not banging a Pirate of the Caribbean.
Yeah. It's.
How about this? We learn in the movie.
It's so weird.
He can hear the human English language thoughts of female animals.
Of dogs. Dogs.
Sir, I have to poop. So not only does the dog speak English, but in a French accent because it's a French poodle. Sir, I have to poop. And I was like, we don't even. Like, how many fucking female animals are there in New York? We don't even dive into that. The magic and mechanics of this movie aside, the fact that this was a movie marketed to our mothers, made by their fucking hero, Nancy Myers, featuring their fucking wet dream, Mel Gibson, and because of that fucking love of that greaseball fucking Australian... we just overlook the horrifying facts of the case.
So the movie is terrifying on like a lot of levels. And again, we're just...
If I was a woman, I'd be like, this is my worst nightmare. That the Chad can just get inside and scanners me? This is horrifying. This is not a feel-good middle-aged woman romp. What the hell are we doing?
It's, it's just... It's unbelievable. Like, watching it again, this is why I picked it, though, because I knew that this would be the proper dosage of, we really never got, we never got over the Mel Gibson thing. Like, he was so hunky and so hot and an action star. It's also one of those,
like, you can't do this movie now.
No.
Not only because of the fucking thoughts in it. We just don't have a Mel Gibson movie star.
No, we don't.
I was talking to this with John, my writing partner. I was like, who do we have that's even close to what Mel Gibson was in this era? And I was like, okay, we've got like Chalamet, but he doesn't have it like this. We don't have the big
best,
Jason Statham? Because he's like our action guy?
At best, going into the next like 5 years, at best we'll have Glenn Powell. That's the closest we'll come to this.
See, he's not there yet. Maybe. You know who, weirdly?
But he needs like 2 more years.
You know who's the closest we have to that throwback like 90s,
like right
80s
now,
star? Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt's a guy who you can put in anything. He's handsome enough for, the ladies who want that. He's
Right.
funny, and guys are like, oh, I want to be like him, right?
Right.
It's this weird James Bond line they used to do, like, women want to be with him and men want to be him, right?
Sure.
Mel Gibson was that guy for a lot. He was such a massive movie star.
Oh, dude.
It was like him and Bruce Willis could jump to these like very bizarre movies.
Do serious romantic movies, sci-fi, action. Like they had the whole.
You
and
can
that
put
was like,
a movie star in the middle of anything, and
That's
it
why we're
glosses
like-
over a lot of shit.
we're like 2 years out from Glenn Powell being that guy, but Chris Pratt's probably the closest we got. That's it.
I think Chris Pratt, like he literally appears in everything. It seems, and most people like him. The internet's kind of turned on him, but like I think general audiences just are like, oh, that guy's great. He's funny and charming, and has abs now.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could like say, I mean, really all the Chris's actually. Now that I think about it, not
But
like
Hemsworth and Evans aren't like they're Marvel guys, but they're not.
Hemsworth hasn't like bought in like that. Evans at least Evans has done other rom-coms, so he was already sort of in flux like that.
Again, it's different though, because like I don't think anyone's like, ooh, new Chris Evans movie, and like goes to the theater, right? Like Mel Gibson.
I don't know.
We
My
just
wife
don't
is
have guys
my wife
like
is
that
very much
anymore.
Chris Evans movie guy, but I get what you're saying. But nobody, but we
There's
just don't
no
live in that
monolith
era
actors
anymore.
like that anymore. Like we just don't live in that era. And so
We
this
don't.
is
Like,
this
it
is
was like
kind of
him
one
and
of
Tom
those
Cruise.
like last really big kind of rom-coms like that. This bizarre, odd, unthought out movie for broad general audiences, right? It is, because at first I was like, all of you guys are giving me movies that are borderline, like I was like, these aren't really messed up movies. Having now seen this officially, this is a fucking messed up movie. This is a fucking wild ass series of events.
The budget for this movie was $70 million. Okay.
Yeah. This now would be like
movie.
a $3 million movie with I don't even know who.
Worldwide gross, $374 million. That's Mel Gibson. That's the power of Mel Gibson.
That's movie star shit.
Mel Gibson, I believe they said that over his career, it's 63 films. He has earned in the U.S. alone as like the star of a movie, $2.5 billion on his own.
Yeah.
Just as the power of the star. That is,
again,
we will never see that again.
Like, I just don't, I think he was like one of our last like really big, because now I was like, we've got Denzel, who I think Denzel's still like a pretty active movie star. Tom Hanks has moved into like uncle movie phase.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Tom Hanks doesn't make the kind of movies
really
like that anymore.
Tom Cruise is the only one left who still does like
Tom Cruise, but he's doing like his Mission Impossible shit.
Yeah, but that's
like kind of
he's
the same
only one
movie.
who can. He's the only actor who can put his name above the title of a movie.
Yes,
and
him and Denzel are like the two guys, but they're from this era.
But they're from that era.
You could maybe even say Keanu, right? So like guys who started in this era still have it. We don't have that anymore.
No. Well, and I mean, like, I think Tom Cruise is a little bruised from Scientology, but he's mostly gotten over it because he doesn't talk about it in public anymore. Like, he never should have. But, like,
he never talks about anything. He's just
Mel
like a
Gibson
fucking
is such a fall. Mel Gibson was such a fall from grace. And I think that's, like, the thing is, like, and granted, it wasn't the virtue signaling. It's not like we didn't know it was going to happen. Like, as far back as 91, there were stories about him being, like, horrible. And he was also, like, drinking during press tours.
If you want a really fun fucking deep dive, just go read about Mel Gibson's dad.
Yeah.
It's a fucking fun Google deep dive. That guy was a fucking maniac. And it makes no sense, or it makes perfect sense. His son ended up being a huge piece of shit. Neither here nor there. Right? All right, Alex.
Yeah.
What's the most messed up moment in What Women Want?
Oh, my God. I was thinking about this last night. I was trying to figure out what would it be, and I guess honestly it's not the most messed up moment, but it's always the one I think of. The first time he's able to hear Helen Hunt's thoughts and Alan Alda comes in to like, hey, let me get your take on this copy. He steals all the ideas, and I'm just like, this is horrible. This is the most fucked up thing you could possibly do.
Mine is similar to that.
You're not learning anything.
So let's take out all of the magical suicides and near rape moments of this movie.
Sure.
The scene that was so uncomfortable to watch.
So we're down to 20 minutes. Got it.
Yeah, it was the first scene when he has the powers and he's like, I'm going to use this to dominate women and take over the world. He's in the thing and they're like, how would you market Advil to women? And Anna Gasteyer hears in her head, she's like, well, sometimes I pop them just so my husband won't fucking try to roll over on me. He stands up and he's like, I've got an idea. What if we say that it's so good that it works even when you don't need it? So your husband won't fucking have sex with you. And the room of women's kind of like, what? And Anna Gasteyer's like, holy shit, why is this happening? And he kind of stands over. He's like, you, specifically you. Why don't you fuck your husband? Yeah. Why do you pop Advil instead of fucking your husband? In front of all of her professional coworkers, she's like, Nick, I don't do that. That's weird. And he goes, really? Really? How long have you been married? Dude, he starts grilling her. And the other women in the office just sit there and let it happen, mortified that this guy's asking why she won't bang her husband more and pops Advils like they're candy. And again, I was just like, oh, this is the movie we're doing. This is fucking terrifying. This is not at all what I thought the fun romp of this movie would be. It's fucking baffling. It's a baffling movie. Thank you for this messed up present, Alex.
Happy birthday, buddy.
That's it for What Women Want. Guys, we have picks from our friend, director, super producer Heath. Our friend Slam Price. You guys will remember Slam. My writing partner, John. All misfits. Thank you guys for the picks. This is going to be a very interesting month of messed up movies for the pod. So I hope you stay with us. Go to the Messed Up Movies Podcast Patreon for all the miniseries, the Patreon exclusives, the community access. Help us grow this show. That's the best way to do it. It means the world to us. MisfitParade.com to keep track of our horrifying man who doesn't listen well enough, Mr. Cream Jeans hidey hole. We're just not hiding it behind, our moms and aunts. That's the difference. Yeah. We're on all the socials you're on. 5-star ratings and reviews. Please, guys, go to the Misfit Parade YouTube to see video versions of the pods, short films, all kinds of awesome stuff over there. Thank you so much. We'll see you Friday.
Just ask what they want. Ask women what they're looking for. Don't pretend like you know.
Just shut the fuck up.
Just shut up. Just listen. What's the matter with you?